Okay, so this is page 41, which was also homework that is due today. This video will help you get it turned in by Friday if you watch it. Remember, our simple interest formula is I, stands for interest, equals P times R times T. I'm going to make that a little bit bigger so that you guys can see it and so I can annotate it a little bit. So I equals P times R times T, where I equals the interest, P equals the principal, which is money, R equals the rate, which is a percent that is changed to a decimal, okay? And time always has to be in years. That says years, okay? So that's the formula we're working on. Here we go. Mrs. Baxter deposits $2,000 in an account that earns, so $2,000, it earns 5% interest, simple interest. How much is Mrs. Baxter's investment worth after 8 years? I highlighted those numbers. We have to fill them in. So they do want to know how much the investment is worth. So our formula again is going to be, I'll use 16.5. I equals P times R times T. So we're not given the interest. We have to figure that out. But we are given the principal. That is $2,000. We are given the percent. Remember, all percents need to be changed to a decimal. So if you're changing this to a decimal, you have to move the decimal point over 2 spaces, 1, 2. So this will be 0.05. So again, if I'm going back over here, I'm multiplying that by 0.05. And then my time is in years. So I'm also multiplying that by 8. I equals, you will put those numbers into your calculator by multiplying them and you will get a number. That's going to be your interest. Once you get your interest, you need to add the principal. Oops, spelled principal wrong. Principal plus the interest equals what? The principal is $2,000, so you're going to have to add $2,000 plus whatever you got for the interest, and that will give you the total amount or the total investment, okay? All right, so that's the first part. The next question says, Joey made a deposit into an account that earns 6%. You already know that 6% for simple interest is going to be important. After 3 years, again, 3 years is also important. Joey has earned $400. That is his interest. So right here, you know that 6% has to be changed to a decimal. So you're going to get 0.06. And that's going to be your R. You also know that your 3 is your time because it's in years. And we know that Joey earned $400 simple interest. So that's going to be our I. So we are still using the formula I equals PRT. Now when we do this, we already know what the interest is. It's our I. So we're putting that in for 400. We also know that, or we don't know our principal. So we want to know how much his initial deposit is. So we can leave it as P. We also know that the rate is 0.06. And we know that the time in years is 3. So right now in your calculators, you should be multiplying 0.06 times 3. Whatever you get there, you're going to put it here. And then you are going to leave the P. We have to solve for P. I don't know what that decimal point is. We don't need that. I don't know how I'm gonna, there we go. So we're gonna leave that. I don't know why it's, well, it keeps automatically putting a little dot there. That's not really there. Do not use that dot. So whatever you got for 0.06 times 3, you are going to put here, whatever it is. Then in order to get P by itself, you're going to have to divide by whatever this number is to cancel it out, right? Whatever those two numbers are, and whatever you do the one side, you have to divide by the other. Then down here, you're going to get P equals, and then whatever you got when you did 400 divided by whatever this number is, all right? So that will give you the principal, or that will give you how much his deposit was. All right, for question number 3, you're going to be doing Coach Cliffman made a deposit of $1,800 into an account that earns 2% annual simple interest. Find the amount of interest that Coach Cliffman earned after 3 years. So you know that you're going to have to use the formula I equals PI equals P times R times T. Once you do that, we're going to come over here. I'm going to highlight the things that are important. So we need to know that his principal, or the P, is $1,800. We also need to know that there's a 2% annual simple interest. And we also know that the time is in years, and it's 3. So again, I like to label that. I know that this is my P. I know I have to change this into a decimal by moving this over, the decimal point over 2 places. So I get 0.02, and that's my R. And I also know that 3 is in years, and that's my time. So when I go back over here, I'm filling in I, because we don't know the interest. We need to find the interest. I equals P, which is 1,800 times 0.02, and then times 3. And what do you get? All right, lastly, we're having to figure out what people are doing wrong or right. So Peter is calculating the interest earned on a deposit of $275 in an account that earns 8% simple interest after 12 years. So again, we know that this is his deposit, so that's the principal. I'm going to label it with a P. We also know that 8% is the rate, and we have to change it to a decimal by moving the decimal point 2 places over. So we get 0.08, and then we know that the simple interest is after 12 years, which is time. If we're looking at what he did down here, it says, what did Peter do incorrectly? That's actually pretty easy, because we already know that as a rate, this should be not 0.8, but 0.08. So we should write 0.8 should be 0.08. Now you need to change that for this part. You need to actually change that out, make that 0.08, and put it in your calculator. And I should equal, what should it equal when you do it in your calculator? The next one is Isabel is calculating the interest earned on a deposit of $3,000 in an account that earns 4% simple interest after 6 years. So we can label these. We already know that this is my principal. This is how much she's depositing. We know that it's 4% simple interest. Move our decimal over 2 places, 0.04, and that's our rate. And we also know that 6 years is T for time. Here, it looks like they did the 3,000 times 0.04 times 6. And they figured out that this is the interest. Isabella determines that her deposit will then be worth $6,720. Well, let's see if she did that correctly. So when I put those numbers into my calculator, 3,000 times 0.04 times 6, I do not get that number. I only get 720. So it looks like she already added 3,000 to the interest, and that's not correct. What is the correct amount of interest? So then when you put these numbers in your calculator, you have to write down what she actually did. What is the correct amount of interest? So you actually have to put 3,000 times 0.04 times 6 into your calculator and see what you get. The interest, I'm sorry, this should have said I. Interest equals what dollar amount? And this could have a dollar amount on it too. All right, if you watch this video and you listen to my words, you should not need help on this. You should be able to do this on your own. Please fill it out, hand it in.